I'm just right. Okay.
Don't
So
know
I'm
where,
just going to try and minimize my
I don't know where it
agenda so I
goes
can
to,
see
mind you.
you. Right. Okay. So we've got so we core it though, aren't we?
Yes.
Oh, hang
Yeah.
on. So I've got Aaron's coming in and Pat's coming in.
Okay. Good. Okay then. So we'll kick off then. So
Let's get the agenda up and everything.
just get the agenda. Sorry.
Right.
So welcome everybody to this finance meeting today. Apologies for absence, please, Colin.
Chair, we have apologies from Mayor Cox and from Councillor Teixeira.
Thank you. And have we got any declarations of pecuniary interest and requests for dispensations from anybody present?
None received.
No. Okay, so minutes of the last meeting. Perhaps do you want to share those, or is everyone happy?
I can.
You do that, or I've got them up. If you want me to do it, it's up to you.
You might have to, because I can't see the share. Oh,
Okay.
yeah, I can do. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
So before we go to matters arising from those, if we can have somebody propose. Councillor Burns,
Yeah.
John, and seconded. Can't see anyone.
Councillor Hanneman has his hand up.
Oh.
Okay, thanks, Pat. Okay, all in favour?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we should go through any matters arising. Where are we? Just can't see it very well on there.
Oh, try and increase.
Yeah. So there was something about the McDonald's.
There's really not very much, to be perfectly honest, whether Councillor Burns
Okay.
has any comment on the menu, but looking through, there really isn't very much to be saved on that. We've already slimmed it down before.
Okay. And then we've got house rules and older children playing the soft play area.
Yes, so this is where we've made a major change.
Yeah.
We've had a review of the house rules, and we've looked at what else is done in the around the country, and so we've basically removed the height limit and put an age limit in, and we've also removed the instructions that even if somebody looks a certain age, they might not be, so check. We've just said, well, if they still look 12, even if they're 15, if they still only look 12, that's fine.
Okay, yeah, I saw that you've mentioned that in your report anyway, haven't you? Yeah. Okay. Anything else on there? Right to the portfolio holder at West Suffolk.
I have to say, I haven't done that, to be perfectly honest. I've been a bit more absorbed with other things.
Yeah, something perhaps we need to, just see if we can get some sort of response.
I did have a discussion with the elections manager on this, and I guess one of the things that we don't see, which those of you who are dual-hatted or have been district councillors in the past be aware, there are these lines that the boundaries that officers have to adhere to in district level that are invisible to the rest of us. So I look at the election register, the changes in the election register, and I look at the changes in council tax, etc. But it's against the law for West Suffolk Council to use election registered information to start cross-checking whether or not the names are right for the occupants of properties for tax, etc. Ben's explanation is that the democracy side of it, that people encouraging people to vote and register to vote, is sacrosanct. So they're not allowed to, if you like, encourage people to register to vote and then do a gotcha on tax. Now that I
Right.
appreciate that's a difficult thing, because you could think, well, that's not really very fair. But I do understand the reasoning behind the law, but it is quite frustrating that the councils and Anglia Revenue don't have carte blanche to completely compare all the data they hold.
No. It's just, I mean, yeah, I can see the point. I can see why you wouldn't, but
So we can smell a rat, but we can't see a rat. You know what I mean?
yeah, exactly. Oh, I don't know. That is frustrating. Okay, well, thanks for that anyway. Okay, let's go back to the agenda. If I can find it, mind you. Okay, so that was all on actions arising, wasn't it? So so item 6 was public forum. I don't believe we've got any members of the public, have we?
I don't. Well, no, they wouldn't know the link anyway, would they?
That's true. Okay. So item 7 then, the RFO report, part 1, Haverhill Town Council budget report. Over to you, Colin.
Thank you. Can everyone see their own version, or would you like me to share?
If you can share that, it might be handy, because I can't seem to go between on this little computer. That is the West Suffolk one. Go between different screens.
So the figures you can see, the far right hand column, just a reminder, the negative figures are good. What we've done here is strip out the income deficit support grant that would otherwise be put in from the main budget, because otherwise it skews figures. And what I wanted to try and show was some transparency. So the Haverhill Arts Centre Cafe, for instance, and the Zone Cafe, those numbers are showing very big deficits, but they're deficits we expected and have covered with the income deficit support. If I allowed those numbers to go in the figures, then it would look as if everything's breaking even very nicely. So I just thought it was probably, for councillors, better to actually see the figures before we put in the funds that we will draw on to balance those accounts out, so you get a slightly fairer picture of how things are going.
Okay.
So yeah, just looking through what I've written here. Yeah, we did mention events at the community events meeting last night, and we're there or thereabouts. I think we'll probably end up slightly under, if anything, but it always depends. Late invoices have a habit of throwing a spanner in the works. I mean, for instance, Kerry's just processed a invoice from 2022 where somebody's had to go back and recover all the VAT they should have been charging. One assumes they've had an interesting conversation with HMRC. So we've just been shelling out that happens to be a VAT thing, which is neutral for us, but just goes to show that some people can be quite late putting in an invoice. That is unusually late. So yeah, there'll be a bit of juggling of money between the community trust and the council. I'm just holding off on some actual sort of treasury movements of funds, just to make sure that we are perfectly okay. We've just had £100,000 transfer from our 32-day account in, and although it happened yesterday, it doesn't show to today. So I held back on some payments. So there's just a few things that will be all adjusted by the end of the financial year, and Kerry and I will try and make sure that's done really before try and do it before mid-March, Kerry, and then it's actually cleared the bank and everything in time to make a tidier picture at year end. But that's that section. Do anyone's got any questions on that first part, Chair?
I just want one question. With the community warden, I could see that it was, is that in credit? I'm just can't see it very well from here.
It's 4,000 in deficit.
Deficit, yeah. And what was that for? I mean, how did that work out?
I would guess, Kerry can correct me, but we were spending from staffing reserve,
Right.
and we won't have made that transfer yet. So, Kerry, have you transferred anything from the reserve?
I haven't, so that sounds like it could quite possibly be the issue. I can look into it further, though.
Okay, because we took on the extra. Is that why? Yeah, okay, that's fine. Okay, that's it. Tony?
Yeah, just a quick one on that. We've come out £44,000 to the good on the community. Obviously we haven't spent as much as we planned on that, Colin. Where's that sort of come from, or is that just in the budget for things coming up?
Yeah, so that there's a middle column, where the minuses are real minuses,
right?
So it's that third column, the 12,200,
right?
Is the actual underspend at this point.
Oh, okay.
There's quite a lot goes through community.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly why that might be.
I could shed some light if helpful.
Yeah, go for it, Kerry.
So that community line, that net money into the EMR, the 44 odd, that is the net of several grants coming and going. But the main big grant that went into there was the 55,000 for the Wellbeing Hub, which is one of the movements we're doing over to the Community Trust shortly. So that will resolve back down again before year end. So it just skews the figures because it's in the wrong organisation at the moment. But that's the main issue there.
Yeah, thanks. And just for clarification, what's EMR?
Earmark reserve.
Ah, right. Okay. Yeah.
So just a reminder for everybody, because it's a good question. We use all these and forget, people may not know what they're. So we have general reserves, which is money for a rainy day, and we have earmark reserves, which are funds that the council has put to one side for a particular purpose. There are limits to the amount of general reserves a council can hold. There's no limits to the amount of earmark reserves a council can hold, other than the general law, which is councils are not allowed to just sit on other people's money for no good reason. So each earmark reserve has a explanation of why it's there and how much can be in it, etc.
That's why they buy so much property. Councils, yeah, right, okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. On to the next bit then, Colin.
Right, so for the Treasury side of things, that's all very well. And if I just stop that share and go on to a different share, running, right. This graph basically takes all those numbers and turns them into sort of slices. And effectively what this shows is you have over in the far left where we were financially in November 24, and far right where we were in November 25. And you can see that the different bands, so the main account has more in it. The 32-day account has a lot more in it. The instant account has less. One Haverhill partnership is such a small grey thing you can hardly see it. And the main account is the CCLA hasn't really changed very much. So it's yeah. So but overall, we have more money in than we did before. So CCLA is static, of course, the whole way along. It doesn't change. The big thing is we've got more money in the 32-day account. And of course, that's where the interest is earned. So we're trying to keep it in there. It's interesting because I was drawing a line thinking, wow, that looks a lot fatter on the right-hand side than it does on the left. But it's a bit of a trick of the light. It's actually only managed a small bit of it. So it's a relatively small total that's actually different, but it looks more impressive perhaps than it is. Okay.
John, did you have a question?
Yeah, actually, Colin, I think that you're dead right about what you just said, and it's probably down to that main account, because if you look a year ago, it's virtually zero, and now it's a little bit more. But one thing I was going to ask you for next time, could you, when I printed this out, the differential between the blues was very minimal. So I was wondering whether you can make them a bit different colours, green maybe for one of them.
Yeah, Kerry's writing a note down.
Good, lovely. That was all I had. Thank you.
Have a go.
Lower hand.
And I suppose just whilst I'm on here, just in terms of CCLA performance, just in terms of how it's going, we're over here now. It's been flatlining for quite a while, just murmuring up and down a little bit in terms of values. But I think that probably reflects generally the economy is a little bit in the doldrums, and we wouldn't be surprised to see the numbers have been they're bigger than they were at the point of the general election, which was around there, but it hasn't really moved by much. It's just kind of wandering along.
Okay.
So, okay, I'll stop the share on that and go back to the RFO report. Right, so debtors is next. Kerry, is there any commentary you'd make on that? I mean, there's not a lot to say, really.
Yeah, everything is very much in hand. There's a tiny bit there from schools that's over 60 days, but that tends to be panto tickets, and then schools are closed over Christmas. So, you know, there's no concern from my side on any of this.
Okay, thank you. Any questions on that from anyone, though? Okay.
Going to part two?
Yeah, please, if you don't mind.
Right, so Community Trust, there really isn't very much to report here, other than the 55,000 will come, and there's also the Haverhill Bloom grant, which will come in. So that will adjust the year-to-date variance when it's all done. So it looks pretty terrible at the moment, but it'll be fine by the time it's finished. What will then happen is that towards year end, Kerry and I will do a calculation on the final grant from the Town Council to the Community Trust, so that the Community Trust ends up just in the black.
Okay.
It just means we don't end up with the Community Trust having more money than necessary. That, of course, then impacts our ability to get grants if people look at a very healthy bank balance. And as that's obviously, it's a grant, so it's not as if there's any obligation to pass over more taxpayers' money to the Community Trust than necessary. So we make that calculation really as part of the year end.
Okay, thank you.
Bank reconciliation, very straightforward in that case. And debtors, I don't know whether there's anything, well,
No, it's
Apart from the £128, it's all us.
yeah, exactly. There's no concern there whatsoever.
Okay, so has anyone got any questions on that IFO Part 2?
No.
No? Okay,
Thank you, Chair.
so we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is item 9, Budget 26-27 update.
The budget really hasn't changed very much at all. The eagle-eyed amongst you may spot that the numbers at the very end of the report are slightly different, but they're not different by sufficient to actually change what we're looking at, which is still a 2.5% uplift. Which would be 9p a week for a band D and 7p a week for a band B property. I can bring up any of the budget, any of the figures if councillors have any specific questions that they wanted to ask.
No, I can't see everyone, but I'll have
Actually,
a look.
let me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was just I'm just going to say thank you once again, Colin, for doing all this. I mean, 2.5% I think is pretty reasonable in the scheme of things, considering all the external factors that we've had particularly over the last year, and presumably we're going to have it over the following years. Obviously, we just need to make sure that the press and social media explains why, it is 2.5%. Assuming it's approved at full council. Did you need a proposal on this from us?
It'd be like a recommendation from finance to full council, just to say that the report to full council will include the usual graphs to help explain to the public how the money's being spent.
Well, if that's the case, I'll propose that recommendation.
Yeah. Okay. Any seconder?
Chair, I'm second.
Councillor Davison.
Councillor Davison, yeah. And then you're in favour?
Chair, can I just ask a question?
Yeah.
Well, it's not a question. It's a statement, really. Inflation's around about 3.5% at the moment. As I say, I think that should be stated. This is below inflation increase. Yeah. And I'm in favour in any case. Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
So did we take everyone in favour?
Sorry, just on that, Chair. Absolutely. The figure we're using for inflation is actually 3%, still above the 2.5%. We use the Bank of England forecasts for the mid-year point of the financial year, rather than the one now. But it still holds true what Councillor Hannon has said. We expect by the end of the financial year next year for inflation to be back around 2.5%. But the midpoint is 3%, is what the Bank of England is forecasting. But you're absolutely right; it's above we're coming in under budget, under inflation.
That's good. Okay, thank you for that. Did we see all the hands? Sorry,
Yes, there was a show of hands.
Okay, good. Okay then, so if we're happy with that, date of the next meeting, 27th of April. And I'll close the meeting at 7:55. Okay, thank you very much.